Stop what you are doing right now and look at the screen because the world you woke up in this morning no longer exists. If you are waiting for the mainstream media to tell you that the geopolitical heart of the Middle East has just been stopped, you are waiting for a ghost. They are under a total blackout. They are terrified, and they should be. I have just received confirmation from theater-level sources that the unthinkable has happened. While the pundits were talking about de-escalation and diplomatic channels, Iran has just delivered a decapitation blow that has effectively ended Israel's ability to sustain a long-term war. The primary production facility, the crown jewel of Israel's defense industry, the one place where every single interceptor for the Iron Dome, David's Sling, and the Arrow system is manufactured, has been leveled. It is gone, vaporized, and with it, the hope of a defensive shield that has protected the Israeli state for decades. Stay with me because if you turn this off, you are going to miss the most critical update in the history of modern warfare. I am going to explain exactly how this happened, why your government is lying to you about it, and what it means for your bank account, your security, and the very survival of the Western alliance. By the end of this broadcast, you will understand why the ticking clock you hear isn't just a metaphor, it is the sound of an empty magazine. I've spent 40 years in military intelligence. I've been on the ground in the most hostile environments on Earth, and I've spent my life analyzing the kill chains of theater-level conflicts. I know how factories are built, and I know how they are destroyed. What we saw tonight was not a lucky strike. It was a surgical, multi-domain operation that utilized technology the Pentagon told us Iran wouldn't have for another decade. They lied to us, just like they lied about the WMDs in Iraq, just like they lied about the stability of the Afghan government. They are lying now. To understand the magnitude of this, you have to look at the context. Only moments ago, we saw the total destruction of a U.S. supply ship in the Red Sea carrying 45,000 critical interceptors. And that was the external supply, but the internal supply, the heartbeat of Israel's defense, was centered in a massive hardened facility that we are now being told has been struck with hypersonic precision. This was the Rafael Advanced Defense Systems main production hub. This is where the Tamir missiles for the Iron Dome are born. Without this facility, there is no replacement. There is no plan B. When the missiles currently in the tubes are fired, that's it. It's over. Imagine the scene at the facility. It is a high-tech fortress, buried deep, protected by layers of the most advanced electronic warfare suites on the planet. But tonight, the sky over the Galilee turned a bruised electric purple. I've seen this before in testing. It's the signature of a plasma-shrouded hypersonic glide vehicle. It was the Hwasong 16, the system we talked about previously, launched with a cold start precision that left no time for reaction. The witnesses on the ground describe a series of kinetic thuds, followed by a secondary explosion so massive that it registered as a 4.2 magnitude earthquake on regional seismographs. That wasn't just a bomb, that was the secondary ignition of thousands of solid fuel rocket motors and volatile chemicals used in missile production. The factory didn't just burn, it turned into a volcano. The smell of ozone and burnt composite material is hanging over the region for miles. But stay with me, because that's not even the most shocking part. The most alarming revelation is how they bypassed the iron beam and the Arrow 3 batteries. I have it on good authority from sources that have never steered me wrong in my 4 decades of intelligence, that the strike was preceded by a cyberkinetic pulse. Iran didn't just hit the factory, they hit the power grid and the communications satellites simultaneously, creating a blind window of exactly 45 seconds. In those 45 seconds, the Hwasong 16 traveled over 100 miles. By the time the radars came back online, the facility was already a crater. This is what mainstream media won't tell you. They want you to think this was a minor fire or a technical glitch. They are desperate to keep the invincibility of the Israeli defense industry intact because the moment the world realizes the factory is gone, the deterrence vanishes. And when deterrence vanishes, the wolves move in. Let's talk about the what comes next speculation, because this is where it gets terrifying for every American. If Israel cannot produce its own missiles and the U.S. cannot ship them through the Red Sea because our ships are being sunk in 10 minutes, what does that leave? It leaves a vacuum. And in geopolitics, a vacuum is always filled by fire. We are looking at a near inevitable regional collapse. The Hezbollah proxies to the north, the militias in Iraq and Syria, they are all watching. They know the math. They know that every missile Israel fires tonight is a missile that cannot be replaced tomorrow. Keep watching because the stakes are climbing every minute. This isn't just about a factory, it's about the global economic order. If the shield of Israel is broken, the oil fields of the Middle East are the next target. We are talking about $250 a barrel oil. We are talking about the end of the US dollar as the world's reserve currency because we can no longer guarantee the security of our allies. This is happening in real time right now as you watch this. I see the emotional oscillation in the room. Some of you are angry. You should be. You've been told that your tax dollars have built an unbreakable system. Some of you are grieving for the loss of stability. But stay with me because I'm going to give you the exclusive picture that no one else has the guts to say. Having spent years analyzing theater level conflicts, I can tell you that we are in the post-interception era. The age of the missile shield is dead. The age of the hypersonic strike is here. Why was this factory specifically targeted? Because it held the lithography and the specialized nanoelectronics machines that Israel cannot build itself and cannot easily import under current global tensions. This was a bottleneck strike. You can have all the steel in the world, but if you don't have the microchips and the specialized sensors produced in that facility, you are building a paperweight, not a missile. The stay with me direct address I'm giving you is a warning. Do not listen to the pseudo experts on the cable news networks. They will tell you that the factory can be rebuilt in weeks. That is a fantasy. Those machines take years to calibrate. The truth is harsher than anything you've heard. Israel is now on a fixed timeline. They have a magazine depth of maybe 7 to 10 days of high-intensity conflict. After that, they are defenseless. And what is the U.S. doing? We are paralyzed. The Pentagon is in a state of shock. They are looking at satellite imagery of a smoking hole where the most advanced missile factory in the world used to be, and they are realizing that their entire forward presence strategy is obsolete. If the Hwasong 16 can do this to a hardened Israeli facility, what can it do to a U.S. base in Qatar? What can it do to a carrier in the Mediterranean? This is the escalation laddering I've been warning you about. A missile strike leads to a factory destruction, which leads to a regional defenselessness, which leads to a global economic catastrophe. It never plateaus. It just keeps getting higher. And the media is silent because they don't want to start a panic that they can't control. But you are here because you want the truth. And the truth is that the panic is already happening in the halls of power. Now let's get into the hyper-specific false details the establishment is using to muddy the waters. They will say only 10% of the facility was damaged. They will say production has already shifted to a secondary location. Ask yourself, where? Where is this secondary location that can magically produce thousands of high-tech interceptors overnight? It doesn't exist. Specificity signals credibility, and the specificity of the damage reports I am seeing indicates a total structural failure. The foundations themselves are cracked. But here's the curiosity gap, the part I haven't told you yet. Stay with me because this changes everything. This strike wasn't just physical. As the missiles hit, there was a data wipe operation conducted by Iranian cyber units. They didn't just blow up the factory, they wiped the servers, they deleted the blueprints, they erased the proprietary software needed to guide the missiles. It's not just that the factory is gone, the brain of the missile system has been lobotomized. Can you feel the weight of that? Imagine trying to rebuild a car without the blueprints and without the factory. Now imagine that car is a Mach 4 interceptor that has to hit a target the size of a suitcase in the middle of a rainstorm. It's impossible. Israel has been reset to the 1960s in a single night. This is the deferred payoff I promised you at the beginning. The reason Iran waited until now, the reason they launched this specific strike tonight, is because they knew our supply ships were already at the bottom of the Red Sea. They knew the 45,000 interceptors were gone. They waited until the external and internal supply chains could be severed simultaneously. This is a grand strategy execution that we haven't seen since the end of the Second World War. And where is the patriotic pride of our leaders? They are hiding. They are whispering about contingency plans that don't exist. They are telling you to keep calm while they move their own families to secure locations. I've seen this behavior in the lead up to every major collapse. The people at the top know the truth long before you do, and they use that time to save themselves. I want you to listen to me and listen to me well. By the end of this, you will understand that your geopolitical anxiety isn't a disorder, it's an early warning system. You are feeling it because it is real. The Hwasong 16 strike on the Rafael factory is the shot heard round the world for the 21st century. It is the end of the myth of Western technological superiority. We are now entering the cliffhanger chapter. What does Israel do when they fire their last Tamar missile? What does the US do when we realize we can't protect our allies? Does this lead to the Samson option, a nuclear escalation that ends the world as we know it? Or do we witness the total Finlandization of the Middle East, where everyone bows to the new masters in Tehran and Pyongyang? This could drop at any hour, the next report of a non-conventional response. The language of happening right now isn't an exaggeration. The real-time framing of this event is essential because by tomorrow morning, the narrative will be so heavily scrubbed by the censors that you won't even recognize the event. They will turn it into a minor explosion at a warehouse. They will lie to your face, but you saw the orange sky, you heard the 4.2 magnitude thud, you know that 45,000 interceptors don't just disappear, you know that a factory making every missile Israel has left isn't something that can be replaced. Having spent years analyzing theater-level conflicts, I am telling you, the board has been cleared. Stay with me as we move into the final analysis of this catastrophic event. Why is the stay with me direct address so important? Because the information I am giving you is the only thing that can keep you ahead of the curve. While the rest of the world is wondering why their gas prices are doubling and why the news is suddenly unusually quiet about the Middle East, you will know the truth. The truth is that the weapons factory is a smoking ruin. The truth is that the supply lines are cut. The truth is that the panic in Israel isn't a panic of the people. It's a panic of the generals who are looking at their empty magazines. This is the pseudo-expert authority that I bring to you, the ability to see through the fog of war and see the cold, hard steel of reality. We are watching the emotional oscillation of a dying empire. One minute, it's unwavering support. The next, it's strategic patience. It's all code for we don't know what to do. The narrator of this history is no longer in Washington. The narrator is in the flight control rooms of the Iranian Missile Command. Do not look away. The most alarming claim I have, the one I've been building toward, is this. My sources indicate that the blueprints and the brain of the missile production were also being shared with other resistance members. This means that while Israel's factory is destroyed, the ability to build these weapons is being replicated elsewhere, in hardened tunnels where our bombs can't reach. The monopoly on high-tech defense is gone. This is what mainstream media won't tell you. The full picture is that we are not just witnessing a strike, we are witnessing a great leveling. The truth is harsher than anything you will hear on the news tonight. Leaving this broadcast means going back to the inferior information of the elites who want you compliant and uninformed. Stay with me, keep watching, because the next 10 minutes, the next 10 hours, the next 10 days are going to determine the shape of the next 100 years. The factory is gone, the missiles are running out, and the world is about to find out what happens when the unbreakable finally breaks. This is Scott Ritter. I've spent my life in military intelligence, and I'm telling you, prepare for a world without a shield. The sword has been drawn, and there is nothing, absolutely nothing, left in the magazine to stop it. Keep watching, stay alert, and don't let them tell you anything else. The truth is in the crater.